As I have told you in other videos, I'm a Buddhist. However, I grew up as a Christian. Also, I'm a medium, which means that I understand the power from within myself, as we all have this ability. But here's the kicker. In this society, everyone wants to know who you are by defining your values. That's dualism. Being one or the other, check this box or that box, right? You can't be a mixture or you're a contradiction. Duality is not understanding that you are the light and you are the darkness. Once we grasp this concept that we are everything, we allow true wisdom to shine through and we ascend into higher vibration. Until then, we are stuck in the 3D dualistic realm of dogma and lower frequency, but that's all coming to a head. I'm a Buddhist, but I don't even completely agree with all that I was taught, or at least the rules in which I learned it by. Before that, I grew up as a Christian, but I walked away because I didn't resonate with all of the information that I was being told to follow. But this doesn't mean that I'm an atheist or that I don't see the value in the books like the Bhagavad Gita, the Egyptian Book of the Dead, the Torah, the Bible, the Quran, the Dead Sea Scrolls, astrology books, and many others. I don't think so. In fact, I think I became more excited about learning other religions because they have so much knowledge. But I do think that we've been blinded by parables in each of them. Many of us are not interested in the real wisdom of this knowledge in these religious books. I'm going to show you a different perspective on just a few things that aren't being talked about. And if you resonate, you do. And if you don't, no worries, you can let it go. Before we get into it, don't forget to like and subscribe by hitting the bell notifications, and you won't miss every single week when I post a new video. And we're starting right now. If you didn't know by now, I'm a Buddhist disciple, but a few years back, a very close family member asked me if I believed in God. What a loaded question for me. So I chose to be polite and just say it in the nicest way possible. Yes. He was persistent. Jamie, you have to believe that Jesus is our Lord and Savior and ... Now, all this was because he found out that I was a medium, which he wasn't okay with because he had been told how to feel about this from a young age within his church. So as my shadow side crept up and threw open the floodgates, my ego stood tall. My decision to respond with, well, I believe that I am God, didn't sit well with him. And so I learned to be quiet. Should have done that earlier. Later on, as I came more and more in tune with my inner guidance, I questioned a few things about Buddhism that I didn't feel was in my frequency. Now, mind you, this was my perception on both of these practices and not whether or not there was a difference in viewpoints, but instead, I was once again argued against and told that this is the way that it was and not given an actual answer. I was at odds with a few of the things that I was being taught once again, and instead of getting an answer, even a compassionate "I'm not sure," I was scolded, even within the temple. I even joked that I was the rogue disciple. This is when I left the temple to do my own inner practice and learn to shut my mouth and do my own research, which, by the way, I'm still doing to this day. However, now I'm not so quiet about it. This is what I've learned so far. I don't know it all, and I never will. Well, not at least in this body. Duality is a complete illusion, and it starts within my own being. I'm enlightened in many ways, and I'm also completely egoic. They are complete contradictions of each other, but I am everything on the spectrum and in between. Both are within my realm of reach and reality, and they are polar opposites. We all have them, and that's the nature of reality and the purpose of learning who we are in the first place. Why do we always feel the need to put labels on things? Why is it that we aren't allowed to question the external if we don't feel like we have the answers internally? If it doesn't make any sense, then why on earth would we just jump into something and then just back it up? We call that faith. To blindly follow the words of others without knowing why? That's not called faith. That's called idiocracy. We have a choice to get information and to do research on different things that we may be a little afraid of looking into because we have to see all things in order to know the truth. I don't have all the answers, but what I do know is that I refuse to follow something that I disagree with and call it my faith. I also do not allow the beings that I speak to control my outcome. I learned to take my power back a long time ago by going within. The knowing that we all have is within. This is where we learn to trust our inner being, who is the creator, and I don't know this because I was told this, I know this because I am. I create. Then I watch the results and I do research on the things that most people won't because they were told not to by someone else who was also told not to question it. Who are you? Do you know? Quantum theory tells us that we are made up of light and matter, or biophotons. This is dualistic. But without darkness, there would be no light. This is duality. In many religions, there is the same hidden story within it, light or dark. Our entire existence relies upon duality. Heaven and hell, dark and light, right and wrong. But there is a middle ground, and we're rising to it very quickly. You can be everything and nothing. You can feel one way and then contradict yourself in another because there's more than one reality that exists. We are created to be able to hold more than one truth. Duality is where there are opposites, and non-duality is the oneness. The oneness is being okay with each aspect of all information, good or bad, black or white, left or right, whatever contradiction there is, because in the end, we are all one consciousness. We are made from the same stardust, literally. I've talked about how you are the creator and you are God. This means that you can allow your emotions to take the perception of positivity, or you can allow it to take on the negative. You don't have to be one of these all the time. There is a balance. You do have to be careful of allowing your emotions to take over and get stuck on one side or the other because it can rule your outcome with creation. If I have learned anything, it's that frequency reigns above all, and that, my friend, is your moral compass. How do you feel? You should be able to bring yourself into a peaceful place where none of it matters because you are whole. Last week I introduced you to Santos Bonacci and syncretism, and if you missed that, please go back and check it out because it really breaks down some of these principles in the human body or in the microcosm. I'll link it down below. This week we will quickly go into the macrocosm, or the planetary systems, and how they influence our consciousness. As above, so below. Realize that there are going to be layers to all that we find because this is the principle. This quote is seen in the occult symbol of the Baphomet, the goat in Satanism, as well as the dualistic opposite Christianity on earth as it is in heaven. It's the same principle. You can see that in pictures of Jesus, the Pope, Washington, Buddha, Hermes, and many others, and they were doing the same gesture in famous statues and paintings from all around the globe. As within, so without. This means that we are all interconnected with the inner and outer worlds, yet each religion claims to have the correct knowledge. The fact is, they all do, but only at the top of the food chain, unless we all start to pay attention and do research as to what the hidden meanings of them really are. The Vatican holds an entire library of religious texts, but no one is allowed access. They also control all of the world's riches, but we have starving babies dying in the streets. How is that possible? Astrology holds so much knowledge, but yet we are taught that it was also very evil. Did you know that the observatory right next to the Vatican Temple is named Lucifer, or Lucy for short? To go on with this theory, the moon is always facing the earth in its same position, so we don't know what's going on the other side of it, but there is speculation. However, the moon influences our emotion. We know this because it also pulls in and out the ocean's tides in the same way. Water holds memory, and therefore it's expressed through emotion. NASA has even said that moonquakes, or vibrations on the moon, make it ring like a bell. There is speculation, and more whistleblowers have come out of the shadows saying that the moon was pulled into orbit as a satellite. I can't speak for that fact, but I know all too well that the facts aren't always spoken in the right context. But what would it be transmitting? Saturn has a constant storm in its north pole that's in the shape of a hexagon or a cube. The storm constantly circles the pole, but in the same dimensions, and they never change. Saturn is also ruled by Capricorn, or the goat god, and it's used interchangeably with the word Satan. Also, Saturn's ruler in Greek mythology is Kronos, the god of time. This would be where the fourth dimension of time and space comes from. Time is an illusion, and we have spoke about that in many other videos. Many ancient religions as well as tribes have offered the same knowledge about the fourth dimension being time, and time is an illusion. The cube, as in the hexagon inside of Saturn's storm, unfolded is a cross in the Christian religion, as well as the cube being worshipped as the most holy place on earth in the Mecca for Muslims. There, Muslims travel around this cube, oddly similar to what's seen at Saturn's North Pole storm. The Star of David in Judaism is also the as above, so below symbol that we talked about last week with Santos Bonacci. The top of the triangle is that of the male phallus, and the bottom triangle is that of the womb of the female. Baphomet also holds the two halves of duality being both male and female. Jupiter has always been revered in astrology to represent Jesus or the light. Jupiter's ruler, Zeus, when combined with the name Jupiter, you put these together and it makes Jesus, the god of the sky and the light. I'll have to go back to my notes, but I remember something about Jupiter being in Virgo constellation as well, but I can't remember right now. But Jesus was in the belly of the Virgin. Don't quote me on that because I can't remember, and I'm really not the queen of astrology. I'm just the girl that talks to dead people and tries to seek the truth, so forgive me. Maybe I'll look that up again and let you know on another video, but this would be a great time for you to also do some research. The entire point of this duality consciousness that we're living in is 3D. We're moving out of 3D and into a new era as long as we don't get caught up in the lower frequencies and we are willing to do some real thinking for ourselves instead of blindly following the flock. The sheep are being led by the wolves, and the top is where they reign and have for centuries. It's time to take that back, and believe me, they know it. That's why there's such a scramble to put you back to sleep and keep doing what they say. Now, there's truth within all of these religions, but they're pieced together and they're hidden with esoteric knowledge of duality. What we need to do is to bring it back into the non-dualistic form and bring it out into the esoteric knowledge and give it back to the people. This also means that we will once again find our true power and abilities within and stop allowing guilt and the lies of being told by some people that it's evil and push those doors wide open. You are psychic. You are a medium. You have every right to use what you were born with to the best of your ability, and I'm just saying you should use them in the parameters of bettering humanity and not to hide it from others as these top religions have done for centuries. That also means that you are a creator. You are the one creating your reality, but they are telling you how to feel by using your emotions. Taking your power back means becoming a deliberate creator. Now, clearly I'm not talking about your neighborhood churches and pastors. Not at all. Many of these kind-hearted, loving people are devout and beautiful beings of light. I'm talking about the shadow behind the religions. Now that we're moving from 3D consciousness to 5D consciousness, by the way of the veil being lifted, remember I told you that the word apocalypse means the lifting of the veil. And by the way, if you rearrange the letters in veil, it spells evil. It also is live or live backwards, so there's some more esoteric knowledge thrown in. But the veil that's being lifted is the fourth dimension, which is time and space, and it may be represented by way of Saturn. This is what I believe is being projected onto us as the veil. It's 4D, or fourth dimension, and if we can push through it, there will be a whole new world that awaits us full of truth and freedom. By no means am I setting this in stone because I don't know all, but I do know that some of the things that we are being taught as children are hidden or twisted messages that shield us from the truth. I believe that the truth is within and that we're more powerful than we were taught to believe. And this is being reiterated by my crew, as I call them, or the ones on the other side. Time and space are being revealed and we're coming into a mass awakening. This makes it even more exciting for me, and I hope you feel the same way. Don't let this be a message of fear, because fear lives within the lower frequencies or the third dimension. This is a higher vibe message, so I want you to do your research and seek the truth and stand in your power. This is you coming into who you were born to be and not just birth life for someone else and then death. This is the oneness, the infinite, the alpha and the omega, and it's within each one of you, and not some external source that you give away your energy to. When we come together as an evolution, you will move from caterpillar to butterfly. You just have to go within. Meditation is probably where you should start. Welcome to your ascension, creator. I'll see you on the next video.